As you guys are aware, Sargon of Akkad made a video that was called Red Cortez, where he was basically calling Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez an actual democratic socialist. Of course, this comes amid all of the muddling that has been happening with political terms as of late, with democratic socialism and social democracy and everything getting mixed up. Now, after that, I made a response and he responded to it, and you can sort of extrapolate from that whatever you can or whatever you want to. You can go check those out if you haven't already seen it. I'm sure pretty much all of you have already seen both. I even made a response to his response, but it's really just a shit show. And the guy who once called himself a representative of the left is now more clearly than ever not a representative of the left. If you couldn't already see that, I don't know what you were seeing, but yeah, definitely not a representative of the left. Now, a lot of people were wondering why Kyle Kulinski was not responding to that, because, of course, Kyle is friends with Sargon of Akkad, is how he's put it. And, of course, he was a literal co-founder of the Justice Democrats. So a lot of people are wondering, hey, man, why don't you respond to him? Because he's clearly doing this insanely stupid shit in fear-mongering and calling Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who advocated for small business tax cuts, calling her literally, it was called Red Cortez, and then his response was, Red Cortez is not red enough. So I think you guys know where this is all going, but somebody asked Kyle during one of his live streams, they asked him, hey, why haven't you made a response? I want you guys to check that out.
You need to call Sargon out for his antics lately. He did a smear video on Ocasio-Cortez by naming the video Red Cortez and keeps wearing a MAGA hat. Listen, man, he's going to do what he wants to do. He's, he's... I don't know if he would disagree with this assessment, but I think he's shifted to the right. I think he's moved to the right. Outright supporting Trump. I heard him say that in his interview with the Progressive Voice. There's no getting through there. There's no getting through. And yes, I didn't watch the video, but people were messaging me about it. Like, look at this video from Sargon going after Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And, the crux of the video is she's an actual democratic socialist in the sense that she's post-capitalist. That's not true. That's just factually wrong. Now, how do I know that? Well, number one, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was one of the first Justice Democrats. I know her personally. I know everything she believes. I know where she stands on all the political issues. She's not post-capitalist. That's just not true. Furthermore, the other day, who was the guy that went after her? One of the Proud Boys. What's his name? Proud Boys. Sounds so stupid even saying it. Gavin McInnes, tweeted something at her, angry or some shit because he's so macho. And Alexandria responded by basically implying no, he tweeted a link you used to support tax cuts for businesses. Now you don't, Alexandria, huh? And she responded and was like, well, actually, I do. I support tax cuts for small businesses and tax increases on corporations, on big businesses. That's my belief. That's not contradictory. That's perfectly like me. Me, for example, Kyle, support tax cuts on small businesses. I do. And I support tax cuts for the middle class and poor people. I do. I support tax increases on Wall Street and tax increases on the rich. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to say, I want to raise taxes on the rich and not on working families. That's Alexandria's position. So let me get this straight. The argument is she's post-capitalist, but she's arguing for small business tax cuts. So if you're post-capitalist, you don't even think small businesses should exist if they have a traditional capitalist hierarchy of, an owner or a boss and then people working underneath. Not only is she okay with those businesses existing, she wants to give those businesses a tax cut. The idea that she was endorsed by DSA, therefore she's a democratic socialist. Bernie Sanders was endorsed by DSA. He calls himself a democratic socialist. Alexandria calls herself a democratic socialist. Listen to their explanations of what democratic socialism means to them. They are traditional social democrats. They are not post-capitalist. Now, you can say, hey, man, they should stop calling themselves democratic socialists then. Okay, fair enough. They are using that definition incorrectly. But at this point, that definition has evolved because Bernie was the first one to call himself a democratic socialist, even though he's a social democrat. That cat's too far out of the bag. That train's left that station. There's no going back. But at the very least, you shouldn't straw man these people and act like they believe things that they simply do not believe. So that's my take on that.
So let me know what you guys think about this down below. Of course, Sargon is completely wrong, and that's why I've dedicated a bunch of time to, making a response video to his original video, and then he made a follow-up response to my response, and I made a further response to that, and I know he's seen the video because he left a comment on that video as well. So Sargon has just completely lost his mind. He also made the statement, recall that he said that the Democratic Party has become the Socialist Party of America, which is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. So, yeah, he's completely gone off the rails. I think he's just a complete lost cause, and it's embarrassing as fuck.